of gold and level juice, those are basically items that you can use in practice mode, which will basically let you get free levels, get free golds, and that way you don't have to worry about, playing through an entire game just to test out something.
So a very highly requested feature from the community. You can explore item builds, you can explore abilities much more easily now with the pot of gold and the level juice. So that's good. Tell us what he's doing.
So right now, he's walking around, not really doing much. However, so we do call Vox a sniper. However, he's fairly short range,
awesome.
and he's actually very crystal heavy. Like, you can choose to go either weapon or crystal on Vox, and they'll be able to be extremely effective, and they'll have fairly different play styles. So if you go weapon, you're a fairly mobile carry. You do have a short range dash, which fires off 2 attacks. But if you go crystal, you have some nice AoE damage going for you.
All right, so let's break it down. So Vox's heroic perk is Julia's Song. A lot of people kind of got pretty close on the parallelism there with the other members of the family. So Vox's basic attacks also deal crystal power as bonus damage, a little bit like Celeste, and grant Vox an HP barrier up to a max.
Yep.
So that's the first part. So he's going to be slinging those basic attacks, giving himself a little bit of protective barrier. When attacking enemies with resonance, which we'll talk about, it will cause the damage to bounce between enemies. So you're going to see this resonance effect in a minute, and he can fire attacks and they're going to bounce in between enemies back and forth. So this is where it gets really interesting with kind of sniper Vox versus more mage-like Vox, because if you stay clumped together, you're going to get slammed with all of this bouncing resonance damage.
Let's start this over.
Yeah,
Watch from the beginning again.
Yeah, and if you're caught alone and he's building weapon, you're going to be in a bad way. So, first ability,
Sonic Zoom.
Sonic Zoom. So Vox dashes in a targeted direction, and he throws 2 attacks to the nearest enemy. He'll prioritize heroes. He will not aggro Kraken, so you do not have to worry about that. In early playtest, that happened, and it was horrifying.
It was hilarious.
So Vox, he kind of zooms to a location, and he throws out 2 attacks. And the first attack, so if you overdrive this ability, which is max out the ability in levels, the first attack will also apply resonance. So resonance, again, you'll see this effect over people's heads, and then that's what will cause attacks to bounce around.
Yep.
Second ability.
Pulse.
Pulse. So Vox emits a sonic pulse that echoes off nearby enemies and applies resonance. The pulse applies a slow that is significantly stronger near the center of the pulse. So the farther away. So there's the pulse right there. The farther away from the pulse, the lesser the slow. And each upgrade to pulse increases the damage of Vox's basic and bouncing attacks. So that is pulse.
Yep. So pulse is really good if you're going for a more crystal heavy build, because that way you're going to be able to get more of that AoE damage going out. However, if you're going weapon, I think Sonic Zoom is just the way to go for it.
All right. The ultimate.
Wait for it.
That's actually the name.
Yeah, that's actually the name.
That's actually the name. Wait for it is the name of the ult. It has 2 components. You just saw it there on the screen. So it has 2 components to it. That's how that name kind of came to be here in the lair. So Vox first he fired, and a lot of people read into the Sugar Venom lore, which is awesome, picked up little tidbits here and there. So Vox fires an ultrasonic wave that applies resonance to enemies in its path. So that first wave goes through, it puts all those bubbles on people, which makes them vulnerable to the bouncing attacks. And shortly after, a wide shockwave explodes along the same path, dealing crystal damage, and this is for you, Skipper, silencing enemies.
Just a very short silence.
So there is a silence. So first, the resonance, everyone gets hit with the resonance. Then everyone gets hit with this massive crystal-powered shockwave. It silences enemies. It makes all that crazy stuff bounce around. So if you have a whole team of enemies that's packed together, it's going to be super, super nasty.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like if you can get 2 or 3 enemy heroes stacked on top of each other, you can basically like drop them all at half or even 4 if you have a lot of crystal built up.
All right, so quick recap. Julia's Song is the perk. Basic attacks give him this barrier thing, and he's got this resonance stuff going on. First ability, Sonic Zoom. It's a dash, and he slings 2 basic attacks out. Second is Pulse. You see that thing? It's like this,
It's like a radar.
It's like a sonar. It's like a sonar ping that goes out, and it will, it will ping on enemies that are within range of it.
It will also, as you see here,
Yeah.
it marks things that you don't even see.
Yeah, it marks things you don't see. It reveals them to you. You don't know if they're jungle monsters or if they're enemies or what until you go get normal vision. It doesn't reveal them to your allies. But so it will mark them with that sonic pulse. And then the ultimate, wait for it. First shot goes out, puts resonance on everyone. It refreshes resonance as well. And then the second one, wide shockwave, slams through. Lots of crystal damage. Here it comes. Boom. Second one, boom.